Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! Taylor gets this one out towards center field to the short porch, and it's a grand slam! It's a floater, out to short. And it's booted off the shortstop's glove! Just like they drew it from Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! Grant Fournier, two-run shot to right.
We welcome you to the famous Joe Barth Field here in Brooklawn, right off of Route 130, for a star-studded matchup in the Tri-County Royal Division between the Gloucester Catholic Rams and the Kingsway Dragons. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Chris Baker on the call this afternoon, as we've got a matchup between two teams that we've seen before and often. We covered this matchup in May of 2024, and we did it again in April of 2025, just a few weeks ago. But it's amazing what a difference a few weeks can make. Kingsway now 9-3 in the season. Meanwhile, Gloucester Catholic, guess what? They are a perfect 9-0. They beat Kingsway 9-0 the first time that they came out here to Gloucester County. But now that they're back home, Kingsway's on the road. They came off of a 1-0 loss last night to PVI in Coaches versus Cancer. Umpires are here. They're going to get ready to go. But Jude Morgan is the starting pitcher for Gloucester Catholic. Meanwhile, Dylan Patero, the southpaw out of Kingsway, will be the starter for the Dragons this afternoon. He's warming up to our left. This should be a good game, though. It's a beautiful day. Not a single cloud in sight. 75 degrees from the odd but yet also charming Joe Barth Field. 467 to the deepest part of the park in center field, and no temporary fence. We're behind the one section of the fence that is permanent down here in the right field corner, as we've got a star-studded matchup between two teams that are looking to get just a little bit better every day as we go on to really the nitty-gritty part of the season. Diamond Classic brackets released today. Gloucester Catholic is going to be facing their old friend Cherry Hill West, the team that they lost to in the semifinals of last year's Diamond in the semifinals. Meanwhile, Kingsway gets matched up with BCSL opponent Burlington Township. They're raking the field. They're making sure everything's A-OK for this wonderful ball game between the Dragons and the Rams. We'll be right back in just a moment with starting lineups and pitcher previews and much more right after this. Ground rules just broke up here at Joe Barth Field in Brooklawn. Again, we've got the Kingsway Dragons and the Gloucester Catholic Rams. You know, coming into this game, listen, Kingsway has been an incredible team in the Tri-County Royal. A .283 team batting average, 6 home runs for them on the campaign in a year that has been incredibly high on offense. Meanwhile, a 2.42 team ERA. And somebody who's holding the line in that regard will be Dylan Potero. However, let's introduce what Gloucester Catholic's got on the hill today. They're not going with Jack Mastero. They're not going with Sal Marziani. They are going instead with the right-hander Jude Morgan, who is a junior with a 1.08 ERA in 13 innings this year. 5 strikeouts, along with a career total of 2.23. He had a 7.88 ERA as a sophomore, but that was in limited sample time. He's now flipped that around and has done quite well for himself. In fact, this is only his 3rd appearance of the year. Those 13 innings came in a 6-inning 11-3 win over Hun and a 7-inning complete game shutout in just 77 pitches over GCIT. But he hasn't pitched since April 16th, so he's had a 12-day break, and now he gets to pitch his first game on the home turf here at Gloucester Catholic. Now, we've mentioned the home turf here at Gloucester Catholic before, not the turf, but the actual field itself. When Tate Durius pitched here last year, one of the things that we made note of was that when you're pitching at GC, you're almost pitching from a flat ground. So it makes it a lot more difficult for pitchers to get their footing compared to when they're normally pitching on a normally sized mound. And consider that when we went to Kingsway to face Gloucester Catholic a couple weeks ago, that mound was abnormally high for Jackson Smallets, but he took it with pride and struck out 7 en route to a 4-0 win. So they'll break up the infield here as they get themselves ready to go here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Let's introduce the Kingsway starting lineup brought to you by Harper Driving School. First 3 for them, Logan Taylor, Ryan Colon, and Braden Thorpe. Then you've got Kyle Shields, the right fielder, Dylan Rickards at first base, Nate Bott at third, A.J. Ward is the catcher, Ashton Ford the DH, and Cam Stevenson the left fielder, followed by Dylan Potero the pitcher. Ready to go here from Gloucester Catholic in Brooklawn. First pitch from Morgan is a strike called, and we're underway.
Yeah, a little surprising. Jude Morgan's getting the start here after about what you said, 12-day layoff.
Yeah, last pitch versus GCIT on April 16th. Gets another one that time, 0-2.
But I'm not too shocked, though, because Gloucester Catholic, they do have, their facilities and stuff like that. They do have the fact that they can keep these guys ready no matter if it is a game situation or, just bullpens or anything like that, just to stay warm. So that way they're not just kind of, hanging around.
Dribbler out towards the third base side. Morgan tried to pick it up with a bare hand, not going to get there. And a leadoff hit for Kingsway. And they're going to have some early action there as Taylor gets aboard. And now Ryan Golan, the center fielder, will bat out of the left-handed batter's box. But yeah, I mean, listen, Kingsway played last night in the Coaches versus Cancer tournament, or not tournament, but the Invitational down in Margate. And then Gloucester Catholic, well, they've only played 9 games this year. When we covered the Joe Lang tournament on Saturday at Pittman had played their 16th game on Saturday. And Gloucester Catholic today playing their 10th. Seems like everybody's kind of going at their different pace to start the season. But listen, when you're 9-0, it doesn't really matter. They started off their season with back-to-back shutouts over Washington Township and Kingsway. Then they had a 2-game road stand where they won 11-3 and 7-3 respectively over Pennsville and Clearview. Then a win over GCIT and a huge win over Del Barton. And then they beat St. Augustine 14-5 in an under-the-lights matchup at Margate.
Yeah, that St. Augustine matchup, man. 1 versus 2 in South Jersey. The stars shine brightest in that game, pretty much. Whether it was Weingartner for St. Augustine or Lipoff for GC. I mean, Lipoff 2 home runs. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that.
Even in a hitter-friendly ballpark. I mean, listen, this is there's a reason why they scheduled those 2 together. There's an absolute reason why, because it's the best.
It's a rapper every year. They show that every year. I mean, last year was
they do an excellent job organizing those matchups.
What if it was 1-0 in like 10 innings or 11 innings?
I think so. It was a dogfight. This year was a little bit more offense heavy. That one skips in for Morgan. Interesting thing here for Potero, he's actually still warming up down in the right field side in the foul territory. which is a little bit interesting because they're getting them ready to go, I guess, early while Kingsway bats. Usually you see that if an offensive inning is running abnormally long, but they're getting them on the early going here. That's inside. I believe the count is 2-2 to Golan, the center fielder. Easily GC's closest game of the year was a 2-1 win over Clearview on the 14th. High dribbler to first. It's going to get past Mistero. It will get stopped at second. No, it goes into right field. That will be a base hit for Golan as that ball seemed to just slice and dice its way through the infield. Back-to-back singles off of Morgan, and hustling down to third indeed is Taylor. And speed kills here for Kingsway. They've got themselves runners on the corners with nobody out for the three-hitter Braden Thorpe. I like this approach to hitting so far. Just a couple of dribblers, back-to-back singles. Now you put yourself in business here in the first inning.
Hey, you don't need a home run every swing.
You're not going to hit many in this ballpark.
Thorpe, the brother of Laney Thorpe, headed to St. Joe's, stud softball player for the undefeated and consensus number 1 South Jersey softball team.
There you go. St. Joe's in PA, I assume.
Yes.
Okay. How is their softball team? I'm not sure.
I'm not too sure. I know they recruit locally. They got Gianna Mulhall from Clayton up there. She's really good.
Okay.
I think she got some run as a freshman. I think as a sophomore now, I think she got some run as well. I mean, very talented softball player.
Good to know. Runner on first is Golan. Taylor is the runner on third. Back-to-back singles and a ripper foul that hits the netting up above the dish. One of the interesting things about Gloucester Catholic here, as you can see with our camera, there's that big black net right above home plate, trailing up where that kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, an equipment shed or whatever, that also hosts the press box here at GC. It's almost impossible, if not completely impossible, to get a catcher's pop-up because it's just going to hit the net. It's basically impossible to get that done. So, whether you like it or not, it's there and makes an interesting phenomenon for the catcher and the batter when it comes to pop flies. Because you're not going to get too many pop flies here just because the net's not going to let you do it. But here is Thorpe. He'll be followed by the right fielder, Kyle Shields, as Kingsway looks to get... Oh, sorry. Messed up something there. Now it'll be Shields. Don't know what I was thinking there. Because we are set up in the outfield, the scoreboard for GC is set up the other way. Got myself a little distracted there, but there is one away. And Shields is the batter. Runner does go. The runner is going to hold at third. However, getting down to second will be Golan, and with one away, 2 runners get into scoring position. And that's always my one grief going to Joe Barth Field is you can't see the scoreboard, but yet if we go behind the plate, the net is going to be in the way, and you can't really get a good camera angle out of it. So, there's pros and cons to each of them.
Yeah, pretty good break there for Kingsway. Take yourself out of the possible double play on a ground ball. So 2 runners in scoring position now for the Dragons.
And also with the short backstop here, GC, a good move at third by Taylor to not try to break for home, because I know sometimes that can be tempting for the runners to break for home and then get themselves lost and thrown out at home. Morgan, though, dealing with the jam. 2 runners in scoring position and the pitch. Strike called.
Yeah, if you get a good enough break and a good enough read down at third base and you got a good lead as well, I mean, if you think you can get it, go ahead and go for it.
Yeah, it's possible, just not guaranteed. And it's better to be safe than sorry. Or in this case, better to be safe than out. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a swing and a miss. A big comeback for Morgan here after 2 singles, back-to-back Ks. And now that'll bring up Kingsway's number 5 hitter. It's the Wilmington commit, Dylan Rickards. The Division II down in, well, of course, Wilmington, Delaware. Not to be confused with Wilmington, North Carolina. Rickards on the season, batting .273 as a senior, 1 homer, 9 for 33 with 11 RBIs, a .455 slugging percentage. As we said, Kingsway's been red hot as a team. They've got themselves a 283 team average and a 410 slugging percentage. Meanwhile, Gloucester Catholic, they seem to be a couple of steps ahead. 327 team average, 478 slugging percentage, along with a 1.27 team ERA. Swing and a miss that time. Now, this will be huge for Gloucester Catholic. 2 early runners on, and now a big opportunity to take the threat away. With Rickards at the dish, Rickards looking to drive him home. As we said, 11 RBIs for the senior this year, the first baseman. Time called at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. First 3 for Gloucester Catholic will be Noah Danza at short. Guy Lynham, the DH. And then Braden Lipoff, I believe the commit to East Carolina, behind the dish. There's a strike there. 1 and 2. And sometimes you need a little bit of an inning like this. It's not exactly rocky, but it puts you in a tough spot, builds adversity. Teams that are just good and don't have any adversity, they're not the teams that are going to win championships. Teams that at least have some bumps in the road, but still come out smooth, those are the ones that win. That's what I say all the time about, teams that just steamroll everybody that they play and then they lose in the playoffs. It's because you don't have adversity. And teams like this, like Gloucester Catholic that are 9-0, they need adversity. Something to get them tough, something to humble them, and then find a different way to attack. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Rickards, and a swing and a miss. Jude Morgan, have a day so far. He gets 2 singles in the first and then strikes him out 3 in a row, and the side is retired. Danza will lead us off for the Rams in the bottom half of the first. It's no score as Kingsway leaves 2 in scoring position. Dylan Patero is the starting pitcher for Kingsway here at the Joe Barth Field. Let's take a look at his stats for today's ball game. Again, a 2.10 ERA. He's been doing quite well for himself, but only 6 2/3 innings for the senior left-hander as he digs in versus the Gloucester Catholic lineup. First batter for Gloucester Catholic today will be Noah Danza. Danza to shortstop. We'll bring up the full lineup after this at bat, because the first pitch is a strike. Oh and 1 to Danza, the junior, class of 2026. And that one misses, 1 and 1. Danza committed to University of Virginia, formerly out of Clearview, but transferred, I think before the 2024 season. Either 23 or 24 got here to GC also was a quarterback for Clearview for their football program, and now seems to be a baseball-only guy with the Rams.
Baseball, plays a little bit of basketball as well for the Rams, but I think he hurt his ankle, so I think he just kind of sat out the whole year, if I remember correctly.
The pop-up is caught by Taylor at short. Yeah, I mean, we covered GC basketball a lot with Coach Doc. Don't remember seeing him play. Jack Mastero was the guy that we've mostly seen play. He bats fourth tonight. Let's take a look at what GC's got in the store provided by Harper Driving School. We just saw Noah Danza. Guy Lynham is the DH. Braden Lipoff, the East Carolina commit, is the catcher. Jack Mastero is the first baseman. Jason Bogart at second. Henry Pancoast in center. Brody Gates is the left fielder. Mikey Angelo at third. And Sal Marziani rounds out the order in right field. First pitch was a strike to Lynham, right on the inside corner. A good lefty-lefty matchup here.
Hey, Lynham's got to be liking that college baseball, seeing Auburn. A little bit of a late bloomer there in the SEC, but they've really come on strong lately. Took the Iron Bowl series against Alabama, so I'm sure Guy's happy about that. His future home down there in Auburn, Alabama.
That one is dribbled foul. Now, I like it. I mean, the SEC, it was a football conference, and then they dominated college basketball this year. And now they seem to be dominating college baseball as well, which, hey, listen, you can be an all-sports conference that brings out the best and the best. They're going to be good for a long, long time. And the pitch from Patero is a strike three. Late punch out that time. Lynham gets the strikeout looking, and the Auburn commit will head back to the dugout with two away here in the bottom of the first for Braden Lipoff. Lipoff hit 2 home runs, his first 2 of the season on Sunday. Or it might have been Saturday night versus St. Augustine. Was it Sunday? No, okay, it was Saturday night versus St. Augustine down in Margate. Love going to that field at Jerome Ave. I actually don't know if any high school actively plays at that field. It's I know the Margate Hurricanes of the South Shore Summer League play there. It would be cool to see a couple of feature games with like Mainland and stuff like that down there, maybe Atlantic City. This one is going to go into the corner for Lipoff, deep towards the church. He picks it up at the edge of the fence, and Braden Lipoff has a 2-out double here for the Rams in the bottom half of the first, bringing up Jack Mastero.
Hey, man, when you're hot, you're hot. You're swinging a hot bat, Lipoff. I mean, rope that one down the left field line. What more can you say about that?
Gotta love to see it. He's batting .621 this year as a junior. Unbelievable. A career .396 hitter. I mean, as a freshman, he was batting .315. As a sophomore, he was batting .389. And now as a junior, he's up to .621. 18 for 29, 15 RBIs, and 8 extra base hits. Unbelievable.
Going against his former team, started out at Kingsway.
That's correct.
Behind Tommy Popoff, who had, I think, one of the best years in all of South Jersey last year.
Unbelievable.
Kingsway.
And his younger brother, Willie Popoff, not doing too bad at GCIT either. So Tri-County Royal runs into the family. Inside to Mastero. Mastero batting .320 on the campaign. 8 for 25, 8 RBI. A career .325 hitter. Picked up 2 hits versus Kingsway in the April 2nd win. I think maybe the reason why Bill Alvaro Jr. went with Patero is just because GC has a lot of lefties in their order as Mastero has to duck back. I mean, he already had to face Lynham. Now he has to face Mastero. Not sure if there's any others in the lineup, but listen, if you're a left-handed pitcher, they are, very valuable to South Jersey head coaches at all levels. So it's very nice to see a good southpaw on the hill today. Strike called that time. It'll be 3-1. Yeah, good approach by Mastero. I mean, he's not swinging at anything he doesn't like. He's not overly aggressive here, and he doesn't need to be. So pop out to short, a strikeout, and a double. And now a free pass to Jack Mastero, who will reach with 2 outs and now 2 on for the number 5 man and second baseman Jason Bogart. So here's Bogart, batting in the 5 spot for GC this afternoon as they look for their first run of the game. Strike called from Patero. Bogart, the junior, .233 hitter this year, 7 for 30, 5 walks and 3 stolen bases. GC as a team has stolen 27 across their 9 games, an average of 3 per night. That one's outside. 5 of GC's 9 games have been in the Tri-County Royal Division. This is their second versus Kingsway. We were there for the last time they played them, and then the time they played them before that in a 2-1 walk-off here at Joe Barth. There's a fly ball at the center field. It's caught, and the side is retired. So just like Kingsway did in the top half of the first, Gloucester Catholic leaves 2 on. And we go to the top half of the second inning, no score. Kingsway, after sending 5 men to the plate in the first, went down scoreless, and Gloucester Catholic met the same fate. They bat 6, 7, and 8, starting out with the third baseman, Nate Bott. Strike called to Bott.
Bott, one of the better two-ways in South Jersey, going to Delaware. Really broke on the scene last year, and kind of got on some radars in the preseason, some of like the PBR, Super 60 workouts and such, but I think he's kind of really made a name for himself as one of the better two-way players in South Jersey.
Yeah, he got the start when we were at Audubon for the Ralph Shaw Classic in a loss to Bishop Eustace. As Bott, batting .333, .467 slugging percentage, 2 triples on the season, his only extra base hits. 7 RBIs. I'm sorry, 7 stolen bases. Kingsway with 33 stolen bags in their 12 games compared to GC's 27 in their 10. As the 0-2. Down. Bott wanted to go but did not. Kingsway has riffed off, or did riff off, a grand total of 8 straight wins. They beat Camden Catholic in the consolation game of the Ralph Shaw, took down non-division opponent Triton, and then beat Washington Township, to be followed by Deptford and Williamstown in the Steal Your Base Classic, and then wins over RV, Cumberland, and GCIT before losing to PVI 1-0 in the Coaches vs. Cancer Classic yesterday. This is the second of 3 in a row. They go to Overbrook tomorrow to play the Rams.
Overbrook, one of the hosting venues for the Diamond Classic in South Jersey.
And that'll be a strikeout, 4 in a row for Jude Morgan. And he'll have to be thinking pretty highly here as Kingsway will now send their 7th man to the dish. That being A.J. Ward, the catcher. Ward to be followed by Ashton Ford. and then Cam Stevenson, the center fielder. First pitch, down. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got Colonial action as a red-hot Sterling faces off against the Haddon Township Hawks at Haddon Township. First pitch, 3:45 for a Sterling team that I believe right now is 12-2 on the season, as there's a ground ball out to second base. Throw to first is in time. I don't think those numbers are exactly right, but hey, they won 10-11 straight.
If I'm correct, I think they're 11-2.
11-2.
Sure. Yeah.
Hey, at least I wasn't that far off. 4-3 ground out from Ward, and now the Ashton Ford will bat here. 2 outs. Got to be thinking about that first inning. I think that it's kind of washed over now, but back-to-back singles to open up the first inning, open up the ball game for Kingsway. Could have made a statement, but then Jude Morgan kind of settled in and locked things up with 3 straight strikeouts. Now he's got 4 total in an inning and a third. And he'll deliver to Ford. That one's down. 1-0. 75 degrees today at first pitch here at Brooklawn. Absolutely beautiful day. Not a single cloud in sight. This is the baseball weather we have been hoping and dreaming for, as there's a foul ball. I still remember the first game we did at the Trenton Thunder Ballpark, 41 degrees. And that was less than 4 weeks ago.
And rainy.
And it was raining. It was one of just a few South Jersey games played that day because of the conditions. But the great crew at Trenton Thunder cleaned up the field, got it ready to go, and had a good game between Maple Shade and Holy Cross. Last night was good, too. Sayreville and Matawan, matchup between GMC Conference and the Shore. That one's fouled. It's popped up. It'll go out on the street, though. Just got behind it. The count is 1-2 with 2 down. But Sayreville was up in that game 9-1. We were thinking maybe a mercy rule territory. Matawan came back, made it 9-7. And Sayreville got 2 insurance runs in the top half of the 7th to close it in an 11-8 final. Down and away. Gloucester Catholic's outfielders started to shimmy towards the dugout, but now they'll get a return to sender here. 2-2. Morgan with 4 strikeouts in an inning and 2/3. And the bases are empty. Now this one's a grounder. That one will go into center field, and the inning stays alive. So a 2-out base hit by Ashton Ford brings up the 9-man Cam Stevenson. I think a big thing for Kingsway here is getting that bottom of the order to get some base hits and get some runs across, because if you think about all of the lineups we've seen this year in South Jersey, the teams that are doing the best are the ones that can contribute at any part of the order. Whether you're a 1, 2, 3 or a 7, 8, and 9, the 9 guys still have to produce as well. They can't be pushovers. So if you're Bill Alvaro, you're hoping that Stevenson can drive in some runs and help out the other guys at the top of the order like Taylor and Thorpe and Shields. But a 2-out single for Kingsway, their 3rd of the day, all of the single variety. And the pitch. That one's put in play, out towards 3rd, picked up, fires it across the diamond and in time. A 5-3 ground out to end the threat. Kingsway gets a late 2-out single, but nothing more. We're back in Brooklawn after this. No score. Gloucester Catholic and Kingsway scoreless in the bottom of the second. This broadcast is brought to you by Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on the first attempt. If you like those odds, you can book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman at 614 Lambs Road. 6, 7, and 8 for Gloucester Catholic. In the bottom of the second, it's Henry Pancoast leading us off. He'll be followed by Brody Gates and the third baseman, Mikey Angelo, the freshman who made a very good play to end the inning. Laced out to left. It'll drop on one hop. It is bobbled in left, taking a big turn around first and holding there. Ooh, contact. Big hit there. At first base, Dylan Rickards got a shoulder full of Henry Pancoast as he unknowingly made the turn and made a hit there. Still got 4 months until football, but a base hit for Pancoast starts the second. Second hit of the day for Gloucester Catholic. 5 total, 3 for Kingsway and 2 for the Rams. That'll bring up Brody Gates, the left fielder. That one is going to skip to the backstop. And on a wild pitch, we've got a runner in scoring position very quickly here for Gloucester Catholic. Big thing here is scoring early and often. That's what Gloucester Catholic will need to do to win this game. I mean, obviously they have the home field advantage, but I think that, you know, when you're talking about a team like Kingsway, you've seen them before. You've seen this lineup. You've seen them almost exactly the same. Maybe there's 1 or 2 differences and deviations between the April 2nd lineup and the April 28th lineup. That's a bunt. Right in front of the mound. It'll go down the third base line. It is booted. And we'll see if he'll go back to the box. And indeed he will. Didn't see a signal from the umpire calling it foul. But indeed they do. And Pancoast will return to second. Count is 1-1. Wanted to give a big thank you, by the way, to everybody who tuned in on Friday for our 500th broadcast between Gateway and Pittman. Pittman shut out that game 4-0 over the Gators. Really is amazing how I've done so many of these and I haven't turned into dust yet. This is for GC. This is their 21st appearance on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, and for Kingsway, it's their 16th. Just love keeping people happy, and it's amazing to you know, have that kind of impact. I was at not to toot my own horn, but I was at the grocery store 2 days ago, and somebody stopped me while I was in, you know, the frozen food aisle, and they're like, "Are you Dan Wilkins?" I didn't have a DWB shirt, didn't have a hat, nothing, which is rare. But they said, "Are you Dan? We really like your work. I go to, or my son goes to blah blah blah," and I think they said Washington Township, and they said, "You know, you recorded our basketball game back in January, and you know, I just wanted to say thank you." And I'm just like, "Wow, okay." Like, you know, it means a lot. You know, it means that that what I'm doing is not going unnoticed, and it is incredibly appreciated. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That'll skip in. Pancoast holds at second as Ward is able to keep it down. Count is full here. To the left fielder, Brody Gates. The freshman, Mikey Angelo, is in the on-deck circle with a full count on the way. Patero looks back at second, gets set, kicks and delivers. That is going to skip in the dirt. Ball 4, so a single and a walk jumpstart the bottom of the second for the Rams. And now it will be Mikey Angelo batting. Pancoast got a single to left, advanced to second on a wild pitch. He stays put there. Another bunt attempt. He squared up, and it went outside. 1-0, was able to pull back in time. Marziani, the right fielder, will be next. Bunt down the third base line. It's picked up, fired across to first. Great play. Moves the runners over on the sacrifice, but defense on the run by the Delaware commit Nate Bott, as he'll fly in for the first out of the second, bringing up Marziani.
I wonder what's closer to Kingsway, like Wilmington University or like Brooklawn. Gotta go. You gotta go use 295 for both of them.
You're saying from here to Wilmington,
No,
or
from Swedesboro.
oh, from Swedesboro to Wilmington, or Brooklawn to Wilmington?
From Swedesboro to Wilmington or Swedesboro to Brooklawn.
It has. I don't know. Actually, you know what? Now that you say that, it makes a good point. Because Wilmington is right off the bridge.
Exactly. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Delaware University because that is further into the state. It's in Newark. Swing and a miss there by Marziani. You make a good point. At the end of the inning, I'm going to look that up. Because I would imagine for Swedesboro, you might be closer to the Turnpike. Because they run parallel with 295. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him. And Marziani is down on strikes for the second out. So a 5-3 sacrifice by Angelo puts two runners in scoring position, and now Marziani strikes out to bring the lineup back to the top for Noah Danza, the Virginia commit. He's 0 for 1, popped out to short his first time.
So I've got the answer.
Okay.
Miles-wise, it is 16 miles from here to Swedesboro.
Okay.
And 25 miles from Swedesboro to Wilmington, Delaware. So it's only about but travel time, it's a 5-minute difference. It is 5 minutes closer to go from here to Swedesboro than it is from go to Swedesboro to Wilmington.
I would imagine the Delaware Memorial Bridge and the toll stops have to do with that. Especially because if you use the Apple GPS, it defaults to you having to stop for the cash toll. Because actually, if you've ever been over a toll spot, your travel time will go down if you go through the Easy Pass.
Yeah.
Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Good time to stop talking about the nonsense because he just struck out back-to-back. Marziani and Danza down on strikes. He's got 3 total, and Gloucester Catholic leaves 2 runners on. They've left on 4 total, and through 2 here in Brooklawn, it's no score. Top of the third here in Brooklawn. Brooklawn Water Tower in the background. Spilling out towards 130. And right near the infamous Brooklawn Circle. That has caused me many headaches when I was in my driver's permit program at 16 years old. We've got 1, 2, and 3 for Kingsway in the top half of the third. Starting off with Logan Taylor, the shortstop. Taylor singled to lead off the ball game, along with goal on the center fielder. However, neither came around to score. Both teams combined have left 7 runners on base. Kingsway has left 3. GC has left 4. Outside. Strike called that time. 2 balls, 1 strike. The week ahead on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Tomorrow we've got a colonial matchup between the Sterling Silver Knights and the Haddon Township Hawks at 3:45 from Haddon Township. On Thursday, May 1st, is the first round of the Diamond Classic. We had about 9 matchups that we were deciding between. I've narrowed it down to 4. By tomorrow around noon, we'll let you know what our decision is. We're going to reach out to some coaches and ADs, try to get some clearance, and we're going to make our decision around noon tomorrow. Saturday is also the second round of the Diamond Classic. What I can tell you is that we will be at Timber Creek for both games. There's a pop-up back behind the plate. and it is caught by the pitcher Morgan for the first out. What's different this year, I know they did the semifinals at Deptford, I believe, and then the finals at Alcyon Park. This year, everything outside of the first round is at a neutral site. The first round is at the higher seed. Then the second round is going to be at a host of different schools, including Ocean City, Eastern, Timber Creek, and Overbrook. So in I believe, 32 teams this season, and we'll see a handful of them this upcoming weekend. So we will be at the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games at Timber Creek, and then we don't know where the semifinals will be, or I should say the third and fourth round, and then the finals we know will be at Alcyon Park, most likely to be covered by BFA Sports on May 13th. Another one rocketed foul. This one will again go out of play, and the count is quickly 0-2. Very good bracket this year for the Diamond. I am very excited about that. We'll get into that in a minute, but on Friday, May 2nd, we've got an Olympic matchup from Shamong. It's a night game at Seneca, 6 p.m. between the Morristown Quakers and the Seneca Golden Eagles. As Morgan kicks and delivers the 0-2 after 2 ripping foul balls, sends another one towards 130, and the store that shall not be named, still 0-2. At least not on a family broadcast.
I think it's false advertising. I see it's a carnival, but I don't think there's any Ferris wheels or funnel cake in there.
There's a ground ball at the second base. Bogart is going to throw him out at first base. Goal line is retired.
I see a Ferris wheel in the parking lot. I think there's false advertising.
I think it is. We're entering our John Kruk era, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Thorpe. The second baseman.
So the third and fourth round. So the third and then after the quarterfinals. The quarterfinals and semifinals will be played at Ocean City and Alcyon.
Okay.
And then obviously the final.
Alcyon Park, 6:30.
Hopefully we'll be there.
Strike called. Inside corner. So 2 up, 2 down in the top of the third. Gloucester Catholic and Kingsway 1-2 in the Tri-County Royal. Clearview in third. Williamstown at 4-9. Washington Township at 4-8. And then GCIT at 3-8. There's a fly ball. Out to right center field. This looks like it's going to split the gap. It will. It'll stop in the grass. It's barehanded by Marziani. The throw down to second is not in time. The runner did not slide, but Thorpe goes into second base standing. And now it will be Shields, the batter, the cleanup man, out of the lefty spot.
That was a pretty good throw by Marziani there. He really made that close.
Oh, yeah. He played that perfectly. And I think that's because the grass, again, being a little bit taller here, the grass, that's not going to roll. You know, even though it's 460 feet to center field with no fence, it's not going to, for lack of a better word, it's not going to roll to where a lot of guys could get, like, inside the Parkers and stuff like that. You could think that the grass could, you know, just propel the ball into having inside the Parkers every time, but it's not. It plays like a normal ballpark just because of the grass being just a little bit taller. Strike called. And it's 1-1. Shields struck out his first time. If you're just joining us, no score in the top of the third. And the first pitch. It's not the first pitch, sorry. Foul ball. 1-2. Losing myself a little bit here. Gloucester Catholic looking to get some runs going in the bottom of the third, but Kingsway's looking to strike first here in Brooklawn. It's been a good game so far. Very similar to the last time these two faced off at Joe Barth Field. Scoreless for a good chunk of this ball game. Kingsway is threatening, though, with a runner at second base. Here's the pitch. Fouled straight back to netting. That netting is really low. It's only maybe 7 or 8 feet above the batter's head. And you'd have to think that, I mean, the only reason why I think the netting would be there is to protect the press box and everything else behind the plate, because you already do have a tall chain link fence going over the field and protecting 99% of that. Morgan with the pitch. Fastball way upstairs, goes over the head of Shields. And the count is now 2-2. It's just one of those weird baseball quirks that makes you appreciate the game even more. Like the fact that at my college, the RCSJ field, center field, quite literally for the last 15, 20 feet, goes uphill. Makes it a bit of a daunting task for the center fielder. This one is hit out towards left field. Coming in to make the catch will be Gates, and the side is retired. Kingsway leaves the runner on second base after a 2-out double off the bat of Thorpe. And we go to the bottom half of the third from Brooklawn. No score. Bottom of the third. This broadcast is brought to you by Garden State Pet Center. Keep your pet happy and healthy today with the most organic food products available in South Jersey. As the first pitch is a ground ball to Rickards, he picks it up easy and a 3 unassisted ground out for the first out. As we said, though, toys, cages, accessories, and much, much more, you can visit 7 days a week at 226 South White Horse Pike in Audubon. So for those curious in regards to the Diamond Classic matchups that we mentioned, when we'll be at Timber Creek on Saturday, the matchups for that, it's going to be the winners of Eustis and Cherry Hill East at Eustis, and Hamilton versus RV. And then it'll be the winners of Absegami and Delsey and Haddon Heights Sterling. So 2 games, one at 1 o'clock and one at 4. I actually do like how it is centralized now. You know, even up to the quarterfinals last year, we're still at the higher seed. It was only the semis and the finals that were at neutral sites. So if you want to promote the Classic in a way that can get all of those teams represented, you know, imagine all the media sources we have in New Jersey. NJ Athletics, the NJ.com people themselves, Jersey Sports Zone, D2 Sports Network, our great friends over there, and myself, and all of the other photographers and stuff. Instead of sending them to 12 different games in 12 different locations, well, you narrow it down. It's only going to be 4 or 5 stadiums that are actually hosting the events, so it makes it easier for pretty much all the media outlets to get these kids coverage. And for the fans as well, I'm sure the commutes are easier. There's a swing and a miss. So Lipoff with a big hack. He's got 2 strikes against him. Grounder put in play. Bott's got it. Bobbles it at third. A bad hop. Ball came up at him right as he was ready to field it. And Lipoff will reach. I don't know if you want to score that an error or a hit. That is a tough call. Just because Bott was running in for it. I think if he kind of went for a beeline straight for the ball. So when it bounced up, it hit him and he didn't have time to react. But then in another way, if he had just slowed up a little bit, waited for the ball to bounce to him, hit him in the chest, would have been able to get an easier throw down. Here is Mistero, though, the lefty. Strike called. 0-1. Patero looks back in the 0-1. Way up and in. Mistero almost turned into a semicircle there with his bending. And it's 1-1. Mistero pokes this one in the right center field. This could drop. Going in, though, is the center fielder, Stevenson. Now he's going to throw over. Oh, my goodness. He airmailed and threw the ball onto the street. And he tried to get a double play, but now it's going to come back to bite them as Lipoff will now move to third. Oh, my goodness. It was a good effort, but I have never seen somebody airmail the ball to the point where it went onto the street here at Gloucester Catholic. So that is going to be a fly out to center, but then an E8 will be applied to Stevenson. What an odd play. Lipoff to third. There is 2 outs now as the first pitch misses to Bogart. Man, that's weird. That was weird. That was almost like, what was that, the Southern Miss outfielder from a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, he sailed that thing.
Yeah, he absolutely sailed it. And hey, A for effort there. Stevenson saw that Lipoff had broken early, and now that one's foul. But now Gloucester Catholic, because he sailed the throw, now is just 90 feet away from getting their first run of the game when Lipoff could have been held at first. I'm sure Alvaro's not too pleased about it, but now you've got a 1-1 count. 2 outs, though, for Bogart. He flew out to center to end the first. And the pitch. Bogart takes one way high and fouls it back. And the 1-2. That one is poked out towards short. It's picked up by Taylor. Shuffles. Throw to first is in time, and the inning is over. After a unusual play in center field, Lipoff, who advanced to third, is stranded there. And Gloucester Catholic has now left 5 runners on base. We're through 3, and the Rams and Dragons are knotted up at 0. start trivia time. Top of the fourth inning, it's time for DWB trivia time. Today's question is, who is the only athlete, as in MLB player, to appear on the MLB The Show video game cover on back-to-back years? Is it A, Andrew McCutchen, B, Aaron Judge, C, Fernando Tatis Jr., or D, Joe Mauer? The answer will be revealed in the bottom of the fourth inning. I think we did a different iteration of that question last year, but we start off the top of the fourth for the Dragons. And longtime head coach Bill Alvaro Jr. with Dylan Rickards. Alvaro will be nearing 400 career wins, if not this year, but next. I believe he's somewhere around the 375 mark right now. Spent 16 seasons from 2002 to 2018 at Washington Township. Left after the 2017 season. And then in 2019, came back to Kingsway. Spent 1 year off, spend more time with his family, and now is back with the Dragons. That one is out to second base, diving, and the umpire looks for the ball. He makes the catch. Bogart comes up with it, makes the catch, diving at the seat of his pants. And it is the first out of the fourth. As now here is Bott. Interesting play there. Strike called. 0-1. By the way, some out-of-town scores from around the state, as that one looked like that one was outside, 1-1. Overbrook leads Glassboro 6-2 after the second inning. Eastern leads RV 2-0 in the second. Two-run single by Logan Dawson, the Boston College commit. That one is low. 1-2. St. Augustine scoreless versus EHT after 2 innings at Lavari Field. I believe that's St. Augustine's home field. I like when fields are named, just to be quite honest with you. There's a ground ball foul. It's something when we're at Joe Barth Field, Alcyon Park. If you're Millville, Mike Trout Field. Audubon is Hank Greenberg Field. It's not the same when I've asked coaches, I've said, does this field have a name? And they say, nope, just Kingsway, Kingsway's Ryan Ionelli Field. But, I mean, all of these programs, whether you've won a state championship in the past couple of years or past couple of decades or not, everybody's got some history. You know, it's not like the Phillies are Phillies Stadium. Obviously, it's a corporate sponsor, but it's a swing and a miss there. 6 strikeouts for Jude Morgan, and it's the second out of the fourth. But I think my head scratcher is there's programs that have so much history, and then they don't name the field after anybody. I get it if it's just a diamond with temporary fencing in the middle of nowhere, but some of these fields, incredible venues, just they don't have a name. First pitch to A.J. Ward is a strike. Like for 90% of the football games that we go to, those venues all have a name. There's a ground ball out to third. Actually, check that out to short. Throw to first is in time. Side is retired. Quick work for Jude Morgan in the top of the fourth. He looks to continue what he's done all year. He threw 6 innings versus Hun and a complete game shutout versus GCIT. All they've got to do is get the bats woken up. We go to the bottom of the fourth. No score here in Brooklawn. Bottom of the fourth inning, it's time for DWB Trivia Time. Again, today's question is, who is the only MLB athlete to appear on the MLB The Show cover in back-to-back years? The options are A, Andrew McCutchen, B, Aaron Judge, C, Fernando Tatis Jr., or D, Joe Mauer. Chris Baker, our producer and color commentator for the day. Hold that thought. There's a high chopper to third, played beautifully by Bott. Rickard stretches over to first, and it's in time. So the first out is recorded on the first pitch. But Chris, your guess?
I'm going to go with Andrew McCutchen.
You would be incorrect. The answer is, shockingly, Joe Mauer. He appeared on the cover in MLB The Show 10 and The Show 11. MLB The Show 11, the last to appear on the PS2 console before it became PS3 exclusive. I was shocked about that as well, because I thought, I mean, first of all, I made the question, but I'm looking at the covers, and I'm like, why is Mauer on their back-to-back years? But he was. The first one in MLB 06 was Ryan Howard, who won the MVP that year. Ground ball is foul. This is the first year in MLB The Show history to feature three athletes on the cover. Ellie De La Cruz, Gunnar Henderson, and Paul Skeens. Pancoast grounded out to third on a nice play by Bott to start the frame, and now we've got Brody Gates at the plate.
Yeah, three faces of the future MLB right there on that cover.
I did not play 24. I had been playing 23 for the past 2 years.
Play a little bit of it.
And I bought 25 because I'm like, you know what, I just need the updated rosters. Complaining be darned. I'm just going to buy it. Fly ball, hit out to right field. He won't have to move far as he makes the play. Right fielder Shields comes down with it. And that is the second out of the fourth. Now it'll be Mikey Angelo, the third baseman, as Gates flies out to right. Two outs, nobody on. A strike called to Angelo. Angelo moved the runners over on a sacrifice hit. He's 0 for 1. One ball, one strike. Don't forget to check out the newest episode of the Dan Wilkins Show podcast. Episode 19 features Mark DeRogeris Jr., head boys basketball coach at Woodbury. He recently just came off of a sectional championship with the Herd after downing Haddon Township in February's South Jersey Group 1 championship. And of course, he won a state title a few years ago with the Herd before being let go after an NJSIAA violation. He reflects on that and more in his hour-and-a-half interview with me in episode 19 of the Dan Wilkins Show. There's a ground ball out to third. Bott on a high hop. He's been peppered with those high grounders today, but he ends up rebounding and gets 2 of them to end the inning. We are through 4 here at Gloucester Catholic, and nobody has crossed home plate this afternoon. It's going to be a pitcher's duel to the finish, at least from here on out. No score after 4. Four innings down, 3 to go. Jude Morgan, the junior, really working through it here. Like we said, going into this game, he's had 13 innings of work, 6 versus Hun, 7 versus GCIT, and he's through 4 shutout here in the 5th as first pitch is down and in to the 8-hitter, Ashton Ford. Ford, the DH in today's contest, hitting for the pitcher Patero. And Ford flies this one to center, but straight away, can of corn in center for the first out. Taken in there to make it pretty easy for him. You've heard the story of the can of corn, right? I think I've told it to you, so I'll pass on that one today. I have to wait until I get a newer producer, a rookie, so I can annoy him with my can of corn story. As here's Stevenson, the center fielder. Popped up foul, hits the net. You know, I remember standing here around March of last year, and I was incredibly freezing for a scrimmage between Cherry Hill West and Gloucester Catholic. It was a game that Cherry Hill West won, but it was probably the most media members I had ever seen at a scrimmage. It was 35 degrees, and the sun was going down, and I'm bickering to myself during the breaks, just thinking, why am I here? And then, listen, the weather warms up, and people get a lot more joyous and cheerful when it turns into shorts weather. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Stevenson, the 9-hitter. Corks a swing and grounds it foul. Stevenson, 0 for 1, grounded out to third his first time. Didn't go that time. Here's the pitch from Morgan. Grounded. Out to second base. Bogart on the backhand, floating away, not going to get there. Hesitation or not, I don't think he was going to beat Stevenson to the bag. And that will be a 1-out infield single for Cam Stevenson. Lineup card now turns over to the top for Logan Taylor. Yeah, I honestly think in this game it's going to depend on who's going to be in the right place at the right time. I mean, you've got the 9-hitter getting on, turning it over to Taylor, who's got a base hit of his own right in the game. Might have to take advantage of any mistake that Jude Morgan makes, because there's not going to be many of them. Ground or foul down the third base line, 0-1.
We might need to put the runner on second in extra innings if we go to extra innings.
I agree. Not that it'll happen, but just I know what you're saying. I'm just saying it's one of those games where it feels like this scoreless tie could go on forever. There's just games that are like that as it trails up and into Taylor. We had a game before in the summer in the Carter Cup for the Tri-County Summer League that was scoreless through 10, and in the 11th, road team scored 2, home team scored 1, final score is 2-1 in 11 innings, and those guys play 7 as well. So I think Eric Sabato, who is the center fielder at Rowan, was the one who got the go-ahead RBIs. Here's the pitch. That one's into dirt. Count is 2-1. Top of the 5th inning here at Brooklawn. There's a good crowd on hand here for this Monday matchup in the Tri-County Royal between Kingsway and Gloucester Catholic. This ball's hit well out to left field. Going back, this one's going to stay in the ballpark in not just the pitcher-friendly stadium, but the pitcher-loving stadium. That one's going to be a fly out to left for the second out. I mean, this is everything except for the flat ground makes this a pitcher's dream. Deep outfield, tall grass so the ball doesn't roll. If the mound was just a little bit higher, there would be pitchers clamoring to pitch here. Not for Gloucester Catholic, but I'm saying in general, because of how deep the outfield is. Can't get much better than that.
I think you still have pitchers clamoring to play for Gloucester Catholic regardless. But.
Oh, you always will. Am I allowed to pet the dog? Sorry, folks. We do have 2 puppers in the broadcast booth. And that is very important to us. 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. There are 2 outs. We will wait until the commercial break to go and pet the puppies. I think they're Labradors, possibly? Goldens. There you go. Goal on the center fielder. 1 for 2. Chris, I hope you're not allergic to dogs. Oh, yeah. This is what makes the job worth it. Dogs coming up to you in the middle of the show. Golan singled into first, grounded out to second his last time. Kingsway dealing with a runner on first and 2 away. This one's hit out towards left field. Hit pretty well down into the corner for Gates. And it goes into the trees and out of play. I think some of those trees are actually overhanging the field in left. You can see the shadows of some of the lower branches going out onto the field. So that could make things interesting. I like to say 10-minute ground rules at sometimes fields that have so many different weird quirks to them. Like between Alvaro and Barth today and the home plate umpire. That ground rules meeting was actually pretty long, if I had to say so myself. Outside. Braden Thorpe is on deck if the inning continues, the second baseman. And Gloucester Catholic in the bottom of the 5th, looking for their first runs of the day, will face 9-1-2 Marziani, Danza, and Lynham. High chopper. This one's going to be put in play to Bogart. Throw to first is in time, and the inning is over. Going to the bottom of the 5th here in Brooklawn, still no score. Thank you very much, by the way. Bottom of the 5th here at Gloucester Catholic. Up and away to Marziani. 9-1-2 for GC in the bottom half. Still no score. A lot of base runners, I'll tell you that, but like we said, Gloucester Catholic and Kingsway both left 2 runners on in the first inning, and that's where we looked like we got the closest. Lipoff was on third in the earlier inning, as that's a swing and a miss there by Marziani. Marziani, Danza, the Virginia commit, and Lynham. 9-1-2. That one's in the dirt. As we said, our next broadcast will be 3:45 tomorrow. A colonial matchup between the Sterling Silver Knights and the Haddon Township Hawks from Haddon Township. Staying a little bit closer to home this week. As a swing and a foul tip by Marziani. Have been opting to stay a little bit closer to home with our car repair bill that came in a couple days ago for a broken water pump. Thank you to everybody, by the way. Shay Harvey, Alex Injayan, a couple other folks that donated to our Venmo to help us out. It's greatly appreciated, and all of it has already gone towards paying off the bill. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Marziani goes down on strikes. He struck out for the second time today. And the left-hander Patero, still working the distance here, has struck out 4. And now we go back to the top of the order for Danza. I mean, even in the first time these two teams played, Gloucester Catholic and Kingsway, Gloucester Catholic, I believe it was a second inning that they scored all 4 runs. And the offense was flat from there on out. They had a game last year that was more offense-oriented with a 13-8 final. However, these past 2 games that they've played in 25 have been very different. Foul ball by Danza. Skips up off the third base windscreen. Count is 1-1 to Danza. Danza 0 for 2. Pop out to short and a strikeout to his name. Strike called. Danza got a piece of it. He's going to run down to the first base line. They called a fair ball, and he got him. That's 2 down. Not really much of a contest from Barth or the first base coach, so they'll let it stand. It is a 2-3 ground out for the second out of the 5th. Yeah, that was a little bit weird. I think Danza wasn't sure if that ball was going to stay fair, but he took a little while to bust out of the box. Now he finds himself with the bases empty and 2 down. One ball, no strikes. There's a swing and a miss. Here's the pitch. Strike called. And with 2 away, looking to keep this game scoreless through 5. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. How about that? 5 strikeouts for Dylan Patero. And the inning is over. We go to the top of the 6th. This game has been quite the funky business as Lynham goes down on strikes. We are scoreless going to the 6th. Beautiful afternoon here at Gloucester Catholic. Well, not at Gloucester Catholic, but at Joe Barth Field. So interesting that Gloucester Catholic athletic facilities can be 20 minutes apart from each other, because we've been to Gloucester Catholic for basketball, as there's a strike called to Braden Thorpe. It'll be Thorpe, Shields, and Rickards, 3, 4, and 5 for Kingsway in the top of the sixth. But Gloucester Catholic baseball plays here, which is maybe about 5 or 7 minutes from the high school in Gloucester City. Because if you've been there, you know that there is no parking.
No parking.
We have
there's
to,
all one
when we
ways, too.
had a playoff game at GC, we had to get there 2 hours before tip-off to get a single parking spot at the venue, which was something else. But count as 1 and 2. And then for baseball, we're here. Soccer is right off the RCSJ campus in Sewell, which is where the men and women's soccer team play. That one's inside. And then football plays at Gloucester City High School down the road. Just make a left out of here on a 130, and then you're there. Ended up ripping off the headphones off my head there as I'd pick up the lineup card. Morgan still ready to go, and the pitch to Thorpe is a ground ball over the middle. Bogart is there, and the throw to first is in time. First out of the sixth. Thorpe now 1 for 3. But here's Shields. Kingsway is sending out an arm to the right field side to warm up. Strike called. That is number 21, Nate Bott. With Kingsway at the dish and not in the field, gives him some time to warm up. Morgan delivers. Strike called again. Inside. Shields 0 for 2, a strikeout and a flyout to left in this ball game. As with his crouch stance, misses high. Count is 2 and 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 1 out. Morgan through 5 1/3 scoreless. Looking for deja vu of last year's contest between these two teams. That one is lined into left. It's going to drop for a base hit. It'll be a single for Shields. And now Rickards bats with 1 away. Again, you were saying, Chris, it just feels like at any moment this game could change, but then there's other times where you feel like this game could go on forever without anybody scoring anything. But then you have moments like that where you get a 1-out single with Rickards coming up, and then, your brain starts to tell you, well, maybe this is the time. He could roll into a double play right here, and we'd be right back to square one. But
yeah, it's a tricky spot. I mean, neither offense has really got to go, and I think Gloucester Catholic has only about 1 or 2 hits, and the same with Kingsway is about 1 or 2 hits.
Yeah, Kingsway that was their 5th of the game.
Okay, so that was their 5th. Okay.
They had 2 in the first inning, 1 in the second.
Right.
Actually, I apologize. That's hit number 6.
But the pitcher's done a good job, though. I mean, scattering the hits, not really letting them kind of get hot or pass the baton, as some might say.
Gloucester Catholic, though, does only have 2 hits.
One was,
Lipoff's double, and then Pancoast single to lead off the second. So they have been hitless since then. Now, Lipoff reached on an error. I have it as an error. NJ.com may put it in as a hit. The GC coaches could put it in as a hit when the game's over, so they could have 2 or 3, depending on who you want to ask.
Unofficially.
Unofficially, in our book, we don't keep the same book as the home scorekeepers. The only time when we do is when we're at Trenton Thunder and we just hold on to their scoreboard. If we see a hit pop up, then we scored a hit, regardless of our personal opinions. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Morgan almost got Rickards to go. Appeal to second, says no. And it's 2-2. Don't think Rickards went around that time. But GC wanted to check. Wanted to make sure all their ducks were in a row. As Kingsway will look to put ducks on the pond in the top of the 6th. As we said, Bott warming up in the pen, the quote, pen down the right field line. And a swing and a miss. Rickards down on strikes. K number 7 for Jude Morgan. And that's the second out of the 6th. To bring up. Oh, they're going to have somebody hit for Bott, because Bott is warming up down there. Can't tell a jersey number. Maybe number 11. Bless you.
Thank you. Alrighty. That'd be my sign. This is a take my allergy pill before the broadcast.
I'm trying to still figure out who that hitter is, because I have the camera zoomed in at 60x. It's just a little too bright.
So either 10 or 11.
Well, 10 would be Dylan Rickards, who just batted, and that's not Dylan. He just struck out. And there's no number 11 on the roster. That one is down. Yeah, we do know number 21, Nate Bott, is in the bullpen. Going to try to turn the brightness down on the camera a little bit. See if we can get a better look there. Still nothing, just a little bit fuzzy. Well, we'll find out maybe once he turns his back or puts the ball in play. Once fouled back.
It's like 19.
That would be Christian Finelli in that case, which could be a likely candidate. 2-2 is the count on him, though. 2 outs. And in the top of the 6th, Morgan forces a pop-up way up there and out of play. No score between Kingsway and Gloucester Catholic. This has been a dogfight from the first pitch to the last. There's a ground ball. It's going to go into right field. It skips past to the first and second baseman. Runner is going to go back to second. And indeed, Christian Finelli has a base hit. There's your answer. Finelli with the single. That's the 7th hit of the day for Kingsway, but it doesn't mean too much if you don't get on the board. As Bott, after his replacement at bat, he gets pulled out of the bullpen, so I think with 2 outs he may be ready to go in the bottom of the 6th, which could very well mean Patero's day is done.
Could see.
They're going to make a substitution, actually. Marziani's going to get taken out from right field.
They're going to flip Marziani and Morgan. Or not.
No, so
I'm sorry.
The new right fielder is number 1, which is Jack Pund. So I think Marziani's going to go out to the bullpen.
Looks like yeah, most likely.
You'd think for a program like Gloucester Catholic, they'd have enough, POs, but they don't. Sometimes your best guys are two-ways.
Yeah, if you got a good arm like Marziani, I mean, why not pull him from the game, give him time to warm up,
and with the high school substitution rules, he can
re-enter.
He can re-enter.
Especially if Morgan is being DH for.
Yeah, I at first didn't like the rule, but at the same time, it's a blanket rule, as I like to say. It helps out with like especially the Group 1 programs. There's some programs that may only have 14, 15 guys on a varsity roster, and you don't want to see, for lack of a better word, you don't want to see players and bullpens get stretched thin to the point of exhaustion because of the fact that, they can't re-enter like Major League Baseball is. So the rule may be advantageous to programs that have more players than others, but it also is helpful to those, if not advantageous, to the smaller schools. By the way, Glassboro leads Overbrook and Tri-County Diamond Classic 7-2 in the top of the 4th. Two outs and 2 on after the base hit by Finelli. A ground out to second, a single by Shields, a strikeout to Rickards, and now a base hit for Finelli. Here is A.J. Ward, the catcher. That is a foul ball. He hit it off his foot. That can't feel too good. Haddon Heights leads Burlington Township 7-1 after 3 innings. After 4 at St. Augustine, Hermits lead EHT 4-1. So much easier to get out-of-town scores for football season because there's so many more reporters there, but because for baseball season it's split up between baseball and softball, like we don't have anything from Bill Evans, we don't have anything from McGurk, and there's so many other reporters that are just football only. Like John Lewis is at at a flag football game today. So unless from school-run accounts, it's hard to find reporters or even other live streams of baseball games to report out-of-town updates. Morgan with a late throw back to second, not in time.
Your best bet for that is just check Game Changer.
I don't have that. I'm gonna have to get that in my system at some point on my phone. Because just checking Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that, I mean, people just don't update things enough. Like Pittman has a really nice job with their student managers that run a live account that posts video clips and stuff like that from their ball games. But 2 on for Kingsway. Jude Morgan looking to get out of the jam. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the top of the 6th. He got him. He punched him out and the inning is over. 8 strikeouts for Jude Morgan and the side is retired. Kingsway leaves 2 runners on and now we go to the bottom of the 6th. Still, this game just feels like it's in a standoff. 0-0. As neither team has broken the scoreboard, it's been a brutal standoff in a good way. I'll tell you this, pitchers' duels are underappreciated in the game of baseball, and, well, this has been a good one of that so far. As we said, no score in the bottom of the 6th inning between Kingsway and Gloucester Catholic. 2 powerhouses in the Tri-County Royal Division. Kingsway at 9-3, Gloucester Catholic at 9-0. Both looking to make their mark here on this Monday afternoon. Kingsway got 2 runners on thanks to 2 singles in the top of the 6th, but did not score. Line drive foul off the bat of Lipoff. Lipoff on Saturday night had 2 home runs in the St. Augustine game. 14-5 the final. It's Lipoff, Mistero, and Bogart in the bottom of the sixth. Truly just an unbelievable game that we've had tonight, this afternoon, here at Joe Barth. Picked a good one. Dribbler out in front of the mound. Picked up. Patero fires it to first. His hesitation almost hurt him. And he does retire Lipoff for the first out, but it looked like Patero was trying to, kind of cork one up for a throw, and it almost hurt him because he got Lipoff by a step. A split second more, and he would have been gone, or he would have been safe, as Mistero was at the dish. He's 0 for 1, flew out to center his last time, and walked in his first plate appearance. As we said, action is going for both teams. Nate Bott back in the field. However, Sal Marziani has been warming up for Gloucester Catholic at some undisclosed location because I don't see him down in the bullpen in left field. Bott was warming up down the right field line for a few batters, and then Finelli hit for him in his first substitution of the day. And Finelli actually got the base hit, but Mistero, the hitter, recently in the 2025 senior season as a basketball player, surpassed a 50-plus year standing record as the leading scorer in GC history. Probably, again, he's 99% likely going to be going to college for baseball, but he's just still one of the most lethal basketball players I've seen in a long time. Just a three-point release of gold, as I like to say. That's a line drive foul down the right field line. But the fact that he was that talented at basketball and wasn't even his first sport. He was a talented football player. Wasn't his first sport. There's just some people who could walk into a building of almost any sporting, of any kind of sporting environment and succeed, because they have just that much athletic skill. And Mistero is one of those guys. 2 balls, 1 strike, and 1 away. Mistero will be followed by the second baseman, Bogart, as both teams still looking to crack the scoreboard for the first time. Oh, that one hit off his foot. Not going to feel good there. And it's now 2-2. This broadcast is brought to you by the Rowan College of South Jersey Roadrunners. Winners on the field and winners in the classroom. Join myself and the Roadrunners today by visiting their website, rcroadrunners.com, and filling out the Prospective Athlete Forum. You can also visit them on their athletic social media pages at RC Roadrunners. Especially their baseball team, 41-4 going into the last 4 games of the regular season. Ooh, we got jammed that time. Mistero's getting banged up in this at-bat. Looking to keep it rolling, though. Mistero will step back in with a 2-2 count. He got him. Patero picks up his 5th strikeout of the afternoon. And that is the second out of the 6th. And now it'll be Jason Bogart, the second baseman. Pancoast on deck if the inning continues. This is just such an interesting ball game. We talk about the high-scoring affairs that can be interesting, but here's a pop-up. Out to shallow right, backpedaling as the shortstop, but instead the right fielder Shields comes in to make the catch, and the inning is over. Well, somebody is going to win in their last at-bat. We know that for sure. And Kingsway and Gloucester Catholic still, almost as if there's a force field around home plate, have not come around. It's no score through 6 in Brooklawn. Welcome to the home of the Rams. New pitcher. Jude Morgan's day is done after 6 scoreless frames and 7 strikeouts. He definitely put his work in, but now Sal Marziani is in to try and continue the scoreless streak for the Rams. The 9-0 undefeated Rams. That one's hit out to left field. That ball is down. It gets into the left field corner. It's going to keep rolling around there. He's getting down to second base. He parks it there. And there you go. Kingsway, with the spark that they needed, gets a leadoff base hit off the bat of Ashton Ford, the number 8 hitter. We talked about before how important it is to have a productive 7, 8, and 9 hole. And he just did it. Leadoff double for the DH Ford, and now the center fielder Cam Stevenson grabs his bat for the 3rd time today. That is huge for Kingsway. I mean, if there's anything that can move momentum, that is what you're going to need. We're immediately going to have a mound visit here. What do we have? 1 pitch, 2 pitches, and gives up a base hit, and now the pitching coach is already going to have a word with him. But, I mean, it's been a long time coming for Kingsway. It is their 8th hit of the day, but at every turn, Gloucester Catholic has shut them down. They left 2 runners on in the 6th. And now a big opportunity for the Dragons to take control as they look to take the lead with Stevenson. Stevenson 1 for 2, singled in the 5th. As we're here on a beautiful Monday evening / afternoon, might be evening if this game keeps going on. No score. Kingsway's dugout almost completely vacant. Everyone is up, either outside of the dugout or on the top step in that little waiting area just outside of the brick dugout. Here's Cam Stevenson, the left fielder in today's contest. Marziani gets him to square up, and he gets a strike called. Marziani, a flat ERA, scoreless in 8 2/3. 3 walks, 9 strikeouts for the senior right-hander. Goes back to second base. As we said, Gloucester Catholic, a phenomenal pitching staff, a team ERA of 1.27. And Kingsway's right up there with them with a 2.2 ERA as a team. They're going to throw back to second. Kingsway's getting fired up, though. They like it. I mean, Gloucester Catholic, they're doing a little bit of a routine there with Danza. The shortstop is going over to second base and running right through it. He just did it again. He's not actually touching the bag. He's got to step off again. Kingsway's dugout absolutely loving it. Again, Danza, what he's doing there is he's not really stopping. He's going to second base. He's just going into a circle. See if he does it again. That was 3 pickoff attempts. Yeah, there it is again. He's going to run through the bag. And now they'll square up. It's high. And I think they said it was a high pitch there, and he didn't swing. 1-1. But you saw what Danza did there. He wasn't stopping at the bag to accept the pickoff throw. If somebody was going to get a pickoff from Marziani, it's going to be Bogart, the second baseman. So GC trying to go with their old bag of tricks there, as they will do anything to make sure Ashton Ford does not advance, and at the very least is held at bay, if not picked off. Stevenson, as we said, grounded out to third, his first at-bat, singled in the 5th. Marziani looks back at second. Danza this time accepts a pickoff attempt, doesn't go. That is step-off number 4 or 5. Here we go. Marziani, the right-hander, puts the ball in his glove. And the pitch. Again, squaring up to bunt. This one's foul. And now he's got to get back to it. It's 1-2. 1-1, sorry. They called the first pitch a strike on the bunt, so that's where I was confused. Here's Stevenson. Again, he'll be followed by Logan Taylor, the shortstop, and Ryan Golan, the center fielder. But a leadoff double roped down the left field line after Morgan was relieved by Marziani. Looks back and the pitch. Pops this one up, pokes it towards right. It is caught by Mistero. And holding on there without a budge is Ashton Ford for the first out. This is where things can get interesting here. I mean, listen, this is the kind of situation where it's do or die for Kingsway. If they do not score here, I don't think that their chances of surviving the extra innings is great, because Gloucester Catholic, I think they have that advantage with the clutch gene. But we will have to see. They did it versus St. Augustine. The game was tied, and then Gloucester Catholic turned on the Jets and scored 9 unanswered in the 6th inning in a 14-5 final. Versus a number 1 and a number 2. Don't get much better than that. Looking back at second. And the pitch. To the leadoff man, Taylor, it's a strike, 0-1. Chris, how do you feel about Kingsway in this situation?
For the Dragons, I mean, it's pretty simple. We got to push this one across.
Wonder if they're going to try to bunt here. There's one away. They try to do it with Stevenson. Have to imagine with how the infield is here, if you could just get one to die in the grass, could get a base hit out of it. Just put it out of play, fouled it back, and it's 0-2. Not the kind of situation that Kingsway wants to be in, I think, with an 0-2 count and one away. You do have the runner in scoring position, but I think you're a little bummed that the 9-hitter couldn't move him over. I mean, he tried to square up to bunt, but they drew that at-bat out for so long, you don't know what to think of it. We've got an 0-2 count. Taylor facing the senior right-hander Marziani. Inside on the breaking ball. No, that one was inside. It's 1-2. Marziani coming in for Jude Morgan, who allowed 6 hits over 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, and no walks. Pretty much a clean sheet for the junior right-hander. He turned the card and passed the reins over to Marziani, who came in from right field. Looking back at second, the 1-2. Hit out towards left. It is foul. Into the grandstands. By the way, for Gloucester Catholic, they originally had Jack Pund in right field. However, Jude Morgan, who came out of the game, has re-entered in right field. Bit interesting there, but they may be going for that kind of approach there defensively in a crucial part of the game in the 7th inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A couple of foul balls by Taylor. Marziani glances back at the runner Ford. And the pitch. Strike 3. Late punch out. And going down is Taylor. And now it's Golan, the center fielder. Huge spot here for GC. Depending on how this bottom of the 7th goes, this is the difference between winning and losing a game. I mean, no score, top of the 7th. Even the 2024 game between these two back in May had some offense. It was a 2-1 final. Now this ethos has been completely turned on its head, with Marziani facing Golan. Here's the pitch. Ooh, inside, but called a strike. 0-1. For Kingsway, every pitch matters here. But I like the fact that they're not swinging too early. You don't want to be too aggressive in this kind of situation. I mean, you do want to be aggressive, but you don't want to be, kind of blissfully unaware of your surroundings. That one's up and away, 1-1. If he gets one more ball here, you've got a good hitter's count with a runner on second. Again, Ford, who is the DH in today's game, he has picked up some catching responsibilities earlier in the season. He was the catcher in the first meeting between these two back on April 2nd. And now Kingsway looks to pull off an improbable feat, but they need to get there first. Here's the pitch. Inside, 2-1. And now a quick pitcher and catcher conference here between Marziani and the backstop Lipoff. Again, Lipoff committed to East Carolina. Hit 2 home runs on Saturday in the 14-5 win over St. Augustine.
Marziani saying kind of look, we're going to Immaculata.
That would be a good pick for him.
Immaculata recruits a lot of South Jersey guys as well, too.
Stephen Devaney, one of them. And I believe Bobby Woodward. Yeah, he homered on that game that we covered at Rutgers Camden. But yes, Marziani going to the Mighty Max. Just dribbled it foul. Goal on quick out of the box, but the count is 2-2. Doesn't get much better than this. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Sal Marziani coming in relief of Jude Morgan, who tossed 6 scoreless and struck out 7. Pancoast, Gates, and the freshman Angelo will be the 6, 7, and 8 hitters due up for Gloucester Catholic in the bottom of the 7th inning if this game remains scoreless. Regardless of if this game remains scoreless, we'll have to see. But you have to imagine if the count runs full, Ford would be on his horse. He is set. Glance to second. Kicks and delivers. Got him! Strike 3 swinging back-to-back for Marziani. He strikes him out back-to-back, and after an Ashton Ford double, he gets out of the inning without a run across. Kingsway and Gloucester Catholic now going to the bottom of the 7th inning, still knotted up at 0-0. Bottom of the 7th inning. Sometimes these games can be a little bit poetic, maybe even a little bit cinematic, as a regular season clash with incredible atmosphere between Kingsway and Gloucester Catholic on a nice and warm Monday afternoon, as that one is fouled back onto the street to Henry Pancoast. Manning the center field spot today. He's got a 1-1 count. Pancoast, Gates, and Angelo. 6, 7, and 8 for the Rams. Ground ball out to third. Bott is there. And the throw to first is in time. First out. Worth noting, Dylan Patero is still out there. It was 2 innings ago that Bott exited the first base dugout and warmed up down the right field line, but Bill Alvaro Jr. and Dylan Patero have kept their mutual trust, and 6 1/3 scoreless for the left-hander. Again, with nearly a sub-2 ERA, Pancoast 1 for 3, and now Gloucester Catholic, who has not had a hit since the second, except for now, base hit in the left for Brody Gates, as he will slap that one out of the gate. It's just GC's third hit of the game. They had a double in the first at the hands of Lipoff, and a single to lead off the second by Henry Pancoast. And now Brody Gates, the seventh hitter, gives GC a little something to cheer for in the bottom half of the seventh inning. Dylan Patero also committed to Wilmington University along with his teammate Dylan Rickards. As there's a strike called.
What are the odds you think Lipoff shows up as 3 for 3 on NJ.com after the game?
Well, he grounded out to the pitcher.
Okay, so then what? 3 for 4.
Well, he would be
Or,
2 for 3.
I'm sorry,
2 for 3.
2 for 3. 2 for 3.
I don't know what the odds would be. I'm not too privy on individual scorekeeping, but
I'm saying like the leniency of like scoring.
Well, I made a comment about that a couple nights ago on our social media.
That, yeah.
But no, I mean, listen, it's mostly not even about hits and errors. I think that just a lot of the scorekeepers, especially if it's like a student manager doing it and not an assistant coach, it's people that aren't truly educated about the game of baseball, and at least in Major League Baseball, you have official scores, but I think here there's way too much biases that go into, like I was talking with Lou Monaco, a writer for NJ.com, and one of the things that we agreed on was that, yeah, I think that there should be each team reporting their own scores. Because if you lose 10-0 at home, why is it your responsibility to report the score for the other team? Like I said, there are way too many biases in high school athletics to have the home book be the law of the land. The away team should, as they do for college in the NCAA Division I, the away book keeps the away score. They submit their own, and the home book submits their home score. Because I'm sure that Kingsway's keeping their own score down there, but why does theirs not have a say? 2 balls, no strikes. That ball is hit well out to left center field. This ball is going to drop. It's going to slam into the gap. Firing away a throw is Stevenson. Down to second is going to be Angelo. And Stevenson slipping in the grass in left field. Now a 1-out double, the 4th hit of the game, and now Bill Alvaro comes out. And that may mark the end of the road for Dylan Patero, and it does.
Freshman coming through for Gloucester Catholic.
That's huge.
That's big.
Dylan Patero's day is done. 5 strikeouts in 6 1/3 scoreless. He will be responsible for the 2 runners on, as now we've got runners on second and third. Brody Gates with a single now advances to third. And then after that, you've got Mikey Angelo, the freshman, driving it through with a 1-out double. Looks like the new pitcher will indeed be Nate Bott as he'll switch gloves. And the Delaware commit will look to shut things down and send us to extras. However, Gloucester Catholic just 90 feet away from their 10th win of the season. We'll be right back. Nate Bott is the pitcher. The winning run is 90 feet away. Again, Bott working through this Kingsway rotation. He's got 10 and a third innings and a 5.42 ERA. Now, most of that is from his one start versus Bishop Eustace. But, again, in a small sample size, those numbers could maybe be taken with a grain of salt. Sal Marziani is the batter. He pitched a scoreless seventh to bring us to where we are now. Infield in. Hit out to right field. Runner could tag. Gates. Shields is there. Runner does hold up. Gates held up on the shallow fly ball, and there's 2 down. And now Danza will need some kind of a batted ball, well, unless he get a wild pitch, to win the game. Noah Danza 0 for 3. Patero held him down with a pop out, a strikeout, and a dribbler to the catcher thrown out at first. Again, Gloucester Catholic, with their single by Gates and the double by Angelo, it was the first time this game that they recorded multiple hits in an inning. A grand total of 4. 1 in the first, 1 in the second. And now here's the first pitch. To the leadoff man, Danza. Committed to Virginia. Everybody in the Kingsway dugout up in arms. And the umpire responding back to the Kingsway bench. Not a time where you want turmoil, but it's a 1-0 count. Rickards and Shields most upset about the call. That time it's a strike. Like we said, that's not going to gain you any favorability with the home plate umpire. We like to believe we're in a fantasy land where every umpire calls it by the letter of the law, but they have that in the back of their mind. Even if this game goes to extras, you might see a little bit of that. 1 ball, 1 strike from Bott. To Danza. Dribbler out to third. It's put in play. Throw to first is going to be up the line, and JC's going to win it. Walk off on an error at third base. Somebody had to crack the scoreboard, and it came in the last at bat. Walk-off winner, Noah Danza. A dribbler to third. They like to say good things happen when you put the ball in play, and that's exactly what happened. Gloucester Catholic wins it 1-0 in a thrilling 7-inning matchup and a pitcher's duel for the ages between Dylan Patero and Jude Morgan. As that will be the end of this one. Kingsway falls, and man, good game there. Final time of game, 2 hours and 9 minutes. And your player of the game, feel like it's got to be Jude Morgan. I mean, he is the reason why Gloucester Catholic held Kingsway scoreless in such a phenomenal game. Struck out 8 and went 6 innings. And he will pick up a no decision. The win will go to Sal Marziani, and the loss goes to Nate Bott. We'll be right back with our DWB postgame show presented by the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators right after this. We're here with the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting Player of the Game, presented by the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, a.k.a. our dog of the game, South Jersey's premier pro wrestling organization with high-flying events and nonstop entertainment throughout the state. Player of the game is Jude Morgan. Oh, hello. Oh, my gosh. Don't ruin the headset. Oh, man. Wow, okay. We got a little shower here, but Jude, you went 6 innings, had 7 strikeouts on the board, and overall got the win. 1-0 walk-off there. How'd you feel out today?
I felt great. I mean, good warm-up, prepared good, 3rd strikes. That's all I could do.
And for you guys right now, 10-0, the undefeated record for the Rams. Doesn't get much better than this, and beating a division opponent that has been one of your toughest teams to date, especially back at home. It's got to be a good feeling to win at home, especially against such a good rival like Kingsway.
Yeah. I mean, we always have good games with them. I mean, I remember they beat us 15-0 like 3 years ago.
Oof.
And it was a bad game, but then we came back, and I don't even know, but I don't know.
There you go. I mean, listen, first time we were out there at Kingsway, Smallets had a good game. I think he went 6 or 7 in that one too, and with a 4-0 win. You guys only needed the 1 run, and it was off the bat of Danza. This team just seems like they're grooving. They have the talent, but they also have the chemistry. And that always makes a good ball club. How do you feel about how your team has been going in terms of their chemistry so far this season?
We've been good. We've been getting better as the season went on, except today, obviously. I mean, it was a trap game because we came off a big game on Saturday, so we were a little flat today, but we got the job done, so that's all that matters.
That's absolutely what matters. But 10-0 for Gloucester Catholic. Jude, going into these next couple of matchups, you've gone the distance in all 3 of them. 6 innings versus Hun and 7 versus GCIT, now 6 versus Kingsway. How does it feel for you to be under Coach Barth, to have the trust from him to go so long in all of these great games?
It feels good. I mean, I'm just trying to throw strikes, let them hit it. I mean, we have a big field here, so, I mean, there's nothing else you can really do.
It's got to feel nice for a pitcher, Basically, a flat ground mound is the only setback. You got 460 to center, and then the grass is really tall, so nothing really rolls there. I mean, if Brody Gates, Angelo, his base hit in the left, the one that Stevenson slipped on, I think if you're talking about short grass, that's a triple and the game's over. But it didn't matter at the end of the day. Jude Morgan, thank you, our player of the game. 7 strikeouts in 6 innings and a very wet scorecard. We're going to do our DWB tradition. We're going to have you sign the bottom of the scorecard anywhere, make it nice and big on the bottom. It'll be a little bit difficult with a pretzel in hand. However, Jude Morgan, your player of the game here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Thank you very much, Jude. And there you go. You can go celebrate with your teammates. Thank you very much, Jude. Best of luck.
Nice meeting you.
All right, that'll be all. I need a paper towel. That's not great for $200 headphones, but we're going to wrap it up here on DWB. Our social media coordinator, Haley Mejia. Was that? Oh, got to move back. Okay. I apologize. I thought my producer. The final score tonight, 1-0 Gloucester Catholic over Kingsway. Walk-off gets delivered by Noah Danza at E5 in the infield. Got the job done, and that's all that they needed. We were scoreless going to the bottom of the 7th, and Gloucester Catholic was the first to break the ice and the only one to break the ice. From our entire crew here at Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, our social media coordinator, Haley Mejia, our graphics crew, Caleb Lane and Carson Rosso, my producer and color commentator, Chris Baker, I'm Dan Wilkins. We'll see you tomorrow at Haddon Township, Sterling versus the Hawks at 3:45. Have a good one, folks.